What's going on, guys? Blake Morse here at PAX Prime 2013, and I'm here talking with my buddy Pierre, and he is the lead writer on the first episode of The Wolf Among Us, Telltale's latest episodic game that takes place in the world of the Fables comic books. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for playing the game.
Yeah, dude. So the game looks incredible. It's really, really cool. I'm a big fan of the comic books, so to see these characters brought to life is really, really awesome for me. Obviously, Bill Willingham did a lot of research on like all of these old fairy tales and stuff like that. When you guys were getting ready to adopt his characters, like how much research like behind the comic books and the actual fables themselves like did you have to get into?
From a standpoint of research for Fables, I mean, I read every Fables comic, so that was a lot of research there, and it was fantastic, and I'm a huge fan of the series now. From a Wikipedia going down a hole of sadness, we've definitely done our fair share of fairy tale research as well. And what's unique about Fables in Bill's work is that he takes characters that you know and sort of shows you a different side to them, and often shows you a side that once existed. I mean, as we tell fairy tales to each other, we've kind of rounded off the sharp corners and like smoothed out the rough spots and
Kind of watered them down for children and stuff.
Exactly. So, I mean, when you go to the source material, oftentimes for a lot of these stories, there's sex, violence, like people doing terrible things to each other, and Fables embraces that, and I think that we're sort of taking that as an approach to our game.
Nice. Now, tell us a little bit about the plot behind The Wolf Among Us. This takes place before the comic books, correct?
Well, it takes place before the comic books. I don't want to give away too much plot, but it's definitely a prequel to the books. So anyone who plays our game would definitely, it would lead well into the comic book series. I will say that we definitely used the first trade of Fables in The Wolf Among Us as kind of a template. It sort of echoes a similar sort of layout, a similar sort of mystery, Bigby as sheriff, sort of investigation in terms of like to sort of as the sort of jumping off point, because I think that sort of noir gritty feel is something that people can attach to in terms of a understandable genre, so that we can then onboard them to the Fables universe, which has plenty of rich depths on its own, and I think it's something that Bill actually did with the comics with that first trade. So.
Nice. Now, how involved has Bill Willingham been with the game and with you guys as you adapted his characters?
Bill's been super awesome. Yeah, the most awesome news I heard was when he played through the game, he had a notepad out to sort of take notes and like give us little, in case we hit any things that weren't canonical, because our book is within canon, or just any general notes with characters or things like that. And apparently he ended with 0 notes on his notepad and was just really into it. So I'm super stoked that he's happy with it, and he's been fantastic to work with.
Bigby is obviously a great character, and it's really, really great to see him come to life in this game and to get a chance to like personify him, at least for me, because when I read the comic books, he is definitely my favorite character, and kind of getting to be that like tough jerk with the sensitive side has been really cool. Like, there were a few instances when I was playing the game where I could just do the dramatic pause and not respond to anybody and stuff like that. And I feel like that's very, very true to the character.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I think of Bigby, I think of a guy that is really, really complicated. And unlike someone like, say, Lee with The Walking Dead, Lee was sort of a character where things happen to him. He was a character that's, tumbling down the side of the hill, just trying to grab a branch to keep himself from falling. And you've got someone like Bigby, who is the big bad wolf in a former life. He's the sheriff of Fabletown. He's a guy who walks in a room and everyone knows him, and he might not know everyone else. And that type of character, being able to like dictate more than Lee ever did, a guy who's able to walk into a room and handle the situation, it becomes more about how you handle that situation and that sort of classic responsibility with power question. You can take things too far and you might get what you want, but it might cost you something in the end.
Well, the game looks fantastic. I'm really, really looking forward to getting the full version of it. When are we going to get the first episode?
October-ish.
October-ish, around October, so it's coming up pretty soon here. It's looking super, super cool. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about The Wolf Among Us today. You're definitely going to want to check this out. And this is going to be coming out on what platforms?
We are on PSN, XBL, Mac, PC.
You got the big ones covered.
Yes.
All right. And
All the things.
you're going to be on all the things. Sweet. All right. And if you're a fan of Telltale Games, you are definitely not going to want to miss The Wolf Among Us. All right.